Hi, so Mark Twain once famously said, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which have never happened. And if that sounds like you, if you spend time every day thinking and worrying about things that might never happen or dwelling and ruminating on things in the past, then don't worry, you're in good company. This is the right video for you to watch. So I'm Tom Phillips, and today I'm going to talk about something that many people have to deal with, certainly something that affects a lot of my clients, and that's overthinking. You know, that endless hamster wheel of thoughts that keeps you awake at night, makes you second guess everything, leaves you feeling mentally drained. Well, if you ever been stuck in your head just like that and unable to move forward, you're not alone. Millions of people all over the world suffer because of overthinking. There have been loads of studies into what causes it, and for people who suffer with stress and anxiety in particular, it's a vicious circle because the overthinking leads to more stress and more anxiety, which leads to more overthinking, and on it goes. But the good news is overthinking is something you can learn to manage, possibly eliminate. And today I'm going to share 5 simple strategies, simple tips with you that will help you break free from that cycle. The techniques I'm going to share are practical, they're easy to implement, and they're backed by a lot of research as well as my own experience with my clients. So stick around, and by the end of the video, you'll have a set of tools that will calm your mind and allow you to focus your energy where it matters most. Before I dive into how to deal with overthinking though, just put a comment at the bottom of the video. What's the one thing that you tend to overthink about? And just before we go into it as well, I want to talk about why overthinking happens in the first place. So understanding the cause of what's causing you overthinking is the first step towards controlling it. So overthinking isn't just about being indecisive or cautious. It's deeply tied into how our brains work, especially when we're dealing with uncertainty or fear or high expectations. And here are some of the most common triggers. Well, first of all, the stress and anxiety themselves. When you're already stressed or anxious, your ability to think straight or to think rationally is reduced. So even the smallest problem seems massive and we overthink it. Secondly, there's a fear of failure. You're so worried about making the wrong decision or taking the wrong action that you end up making no decision and taking no action at all. You get stuck in what's called paralysis for analysis. Imagine, for example, that you need to send a tough email to a colleague or a client. You might spend hours debating whether to send it at all. You write it, you rewrite it multiple times, only to leave it unsent. The third most common cause is perfectionism, and this is almost a bit like a fear of failure. The belief that everything you do, every action, every decision you make has to be flawless, so you don't make decisions. Instead, you overthink them and you don't take any action as a result. Number 4 is past trauma or past experiences. So negative experiences from the past can make us hypervigilant. Your brain tries to prevent similar outcomes by overanalyzing every possible scenario to avoid taking risks, especially risks that might repeat what happened in the past to cause the trauma. So how familiar does that sound? I mean, understanding these triggers can help you recognize when you're overthinking and possibly why you're overthinking. But don't worry, because like I say, the tips I'm about to share will help you to break that cycle. So tip number 1 is to practice mindfulness. Now there's a lot in the press, there's a lot in social media about mindfulness at the moment, and there is a misconception as well that mindfulness is about controlling your thoughts, and that's simply not true. Mindfulness is about being aware of your thoughts and analysing them objectively. We call this metacognition. It's literally thinking about your thinking. So often when we're overstuck, or rather when we're stuck in overthinking, we are potentially stuck in the past or we're worried about the future. Mindfulness helps to bring us back to the present moment. And here's a simple exercise that you can try. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, focus on the feeling of your breath entering and leaving your nose. And if your mind starts to wander, that's okay. Just gently bring it back to focusing on your breath. Another great technique that you can use is what's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise. Dead easy. Just name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, and 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So these exercises aren't just about relaxation, they're about breaking that loop of overthinking and grounding yourself in the here and now. The second tip I'm going to give you is to actually set time limits for your worrying. It may sound a little bit counterintuitive, but if you're going to worry, you may as well do it at specific times when it suits you, and also this will actually trick your brain into thinking that you're in control, which you are. It just doesn't feel like it when you overthink. So tip number 2 is to set a time during the day when you're going to worry. So like I say, if you're going to worry, you may as well do it at a time that works for you, right? So simple strategy: give yourself 10 minutes a day to worry, set a timer, and then during that time let your mind go wild. If it helps, write down everything you're concerned about, no matter how small or irrational it feels. But when that timer goes off, stop worrying, close the book if you've been writing it down, and then move, because movement is really powerful when it comes to breaking the overthinking trap. So this technique is powerful because it contains your worrying, and instead of letting it take over your whole day, you acknowledge that you do worry, that you do overthink, but you're doing it on your terms, and that makes your brain and your subconscious think that you are in control. Tip 3 is to get out of your head and to take action. This is a real game changer. The best and the easiest way to change your psychology is to change your physiology. So just get up and actually move. Go for a walk around your workplace or your home, and better yet, if you can go for a walk in nature, so get out to your local park or even just around your own garden, that is massively powerful. If you've got time, go for a workout, and if you can go for a workout in nature, it's even better. So tip 4 is reframing your thoughts. Often overthinking comes from what we call catastrophic thinking. You're thinking about, what if I fail? What if this goes wrong? And instead of letting those thoughts take over your thinking and your thought patterns, challenge them. So ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And how would I handle it if it did happen? Tim Ferriss, who you may have heard of, he's one of the world's leading motivational speakers and lifestyle gurus. He has a brilliant approach to this. He calls it fear setting. So think about what's the worst that you could happen and how could you prevent it? And also, who might have experienced what you're going through? Talk to them and find out what they did and how they handled it. Reframing helps to take control of your inner dialogue and approach those challenges with confidence rather than fear. So tip 5 is to talk about it. If something's really bothering you and taking up space in your head, talk to someone about it. Talk to a family member or a friend and just gain their perspective, because they will hopefully give you an objective, non-judgmental point of view, just like a clinical hypnotherapist would. Gaining that different perspective will often make problems disappear, or at least seem less of a problem. Clinical hypnotherapy, CBT, and other modalities are referred to often as talking therapy. So often just talking about something that's bothering you will be massively beneficial. Overthinking can feel like a never-ending cycle, but the truth is you can take control. Practice mindfulness, set time limits, take action, get out of your own head, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, and put yourself back in the driving seat rather than the passenger seat. So if you like this video, you probably want to check out my video on automatic negative thoughts, because they're very closely connected to overthinking. But leave a comment, leave a like, and I will see you in the next video.